Well, hi there. So I have always liked knitting with really nice bulky roving yarns. And they are harder to get and find in nice colors and quite expensive. So I've been finding ways to get by spinning all the yarns I used to love in the bulking roving types. So today I'm going to show you how to do a graduated one using strips, and it's nice and easy to get a nice single roving yarn. Okay, and for this you're going to need a roving yarn, and it should have some color graduating of colors, and they don't have to be all the same color, and you can decide how you want to lay your colors. So I've done the really light pink going into the darker pink, and then going into the lighter purple and the darker purple, and then I'll do that for a while, and then the darker purple will fade back to the lighter pink again. Okay, so how I'm doing that, well, first you're going to take your roving and you're going to open it up a little bit, and you're going to cut off a decent sized piece to work with. I do my arm span, or break a piece off, however you like to do it. Okay, so I'm just opening this up all the way along there, and this side is where I cut it, so it's easier to tear from that side. So I'm going to come down here, and then I'm just going to tear it down the middle, and I want to separate the colors, so I'm going to tear it right where the dark here went with the light. Now when you're tearing it off for colors, it can be very, very easy because that's where they were joining them. So I just pull it all the way down, and then they're separated. And then I can take one of them, and then I do that down the middle again, and I'm just going to do it between colors again. And there we go. And then once you're this small and you can lay it out, usually you can just pick your color that you want and then take it, and make sure that it's laying straight. So I'm going to lay it straight, and I'm going to start with this pink and white combo here. So I'm looking, and that's about a little bit thinner than I want, so I'm going to go back and get a little bit more, and this is about right. This is about the thickness I want because I'm doing a thinner bulky anyway. So we just take it and I just tear it down, and it'll usually be just perfect the way you want it, but you can feel it, and if you feel it's just a little thicker somewhere, you can pull it a little bit, draft it a little bit. I don't want to draft it too much, but I'm just showing you can draft it because mine is just the size I want it. I'm pretty good at tearing these strips, and this one is pretty pink going to purple, so I'm going to put it in here where the pink is with the purple starting, and then go get another one, and I'm just going to put them until I have a nice big pile, and then I'll just start spinning them and joining them as I go. Okay, so then I just look, and I guess I'm going to take this pink, and I'm looking for the right thickness. I think I can take most of the pink. It's maybe a little bit thick. So about there, and then I'm just going to tear it down. Now, if they're ever a little bit too thick, you just draft them. This one ended up being a little bit too thick because I think that end had a little less in it. And so I'm just going to pull off this extra little bit here that was on because it's going to be too thin to do anything else really. There we go. And then I got it just the way that I wanted it. And this one's pink with a little purple too, so I'm going to lay it over there with them that are like that. Be right there. So it's actually pretty easy. These strips go pretty fast. Now this one that's left is pretty thin, and I always check to see, is that good? Is that the thickness I'm going for if I spin it? So I just spin it around and I go, yeah, that's about what I was looking for in a bulky. It's about the same as the rest. This one has quite a bit of purple, so I'm going to put it up here where the purple is. And so I'm getting a nice graduated color. And that's all there really is to doing it. And I already did some, so this is the yarn. And so that I spun, and I set it after, and you can see that it's nice and straight, and I will tell you how I did that. And yet it is twisted. It's a really, really nice bulky. And when you look at it, you'd think that that's just an expensive yarn you'd buy in a store. So this is 100% wool, merino wool, and was very, very polished and carded, and that's all they said was in it, but they might have put something in it, some silk or something in it. Okay, so this is what it looks like, and it's light, and when you get to the center, it gets quite dark purple, like you see there at the back. So I'll explain to you how I got my yarn like this. So after I spun it, and I just spin on a spindle, but you can use a machine, you know, any way you like to spin, doesn't matter. You can use this technique. And I usually just felt my ends together as I'm spinning. I spin them and then I felt them a little bit to make sure they're going to stay, especially after the way I set them. I don't want where I join them to swell up, but if it does, then you can just wet them a little bit there and felt them in again. But you can join any way you like. I just felt because I like that extra security and because I'm using 100% natural fabrics. So how I do it is when I have enough, when my spindle is full, I take it off the spindle, and then I usually have a few spindles at a time, and then I take them into my kitchen. I get a very big bowl, and I add cold water and then hot water to it, and then I soak them in there for a little bit, just till they get totally saturated. I never soak them more than about a minute, because they're saturated with the hot water by then, but it's warm. You got to be able to put your fingers in it, not so hot you can't touch them or squeeze out the water. But if you like to do really big batches, any way that you did that kind of setting is fine. Anyway, after that, I squeeze the water out of them, and then I fill up the bowl with really cold water, and I set them in the cold water. So the hot water kind of opens them up to help relax the spin, and the cold water tightens them up again and felts them slightly. So this yarn here is slightly felted. So you can just see it. It has a spin, but it's nice and straight. It's easy to work with. Here you see with the black color on it, you can see the spinnies here, and they're just nice and flat and easy to spin with. So I mean, easy to knit or crochet or whatever your craft is. So that's how I set the singles. I mean, if I was plying, I wouldn't go do that extra step, because I wouldn't want to, because I'd want to leave more of the twist in it so that it would help them to actually ply. But I'm really not a fan of plied. I really, really like bulky singles, and I love to knit with a bulky yarn that just is a roving. And the reason for that, without the twist, it just shows the stitches so nice. And I create a lot of my own stitches and make videos on my stitches, and I want my stitches to look really nice. And I just really like the look of the roving. So when I was doing the other methods, and I was spinning, and I was, you know, drafting and spinning along like that, it was a lot longer and harder to get a consistent bulky. And especially with some of the yarns that were really hard to draft, this way is just so easy, because even with a really hard merino that's really hard to draft, it tears even easier. So you can just tear a nice strip to do, and the strips will come really even as you get better at tearing. And it just makes it really fun for me to get all these different kinds of techniques. I also find it really fast because I'm just spinning, adding and spinning, and the strips, and away I go, and they're all I, the right width already. I very rarely have to draft at all when I'm using this method, although you might have to with certain wools that are harder to tear straight. But if that's the case, you just keep going down the middle, and you keep doing that until you get your right size. But with this kind that I did today, they're really, really easy to tear and to get a nice bulky and to get just what you need. And you can make either a really graduated one like this or a really nice color run by separating the colors that you like that way. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I will be knitting a piece, and you'll be able to see what that looks like. That'll appear on my channel, and if I have time, I'll even edit a picture right onto this video here. And so I hope you really enjoyed it and you have a lot of fun trying this technique. And until next time, bye.